Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys, gals and gentlepods, and welcome back to the shed. Not in the shed, we're in the big workshop because Morty's here. Right, just a quick update on where we're at. In the last video, you'll remember the damage from the blown head gasket, a little dimple in the block. When I looked closer, I found the same sort of damage on the cylinder head in the same spot. A fellow nutter who hill climbs and sprints a bright green MG Maestro called Dave Mockford, suggested I contact a company called EMP down in Havant in Hertfordshire, I think it is. It's near Portsmouth anyway, to have it laser welded, which my initial thought was that sounds horribly expensive. But in fairness, Dave persisted, pointed it out again, mentioned it to me again. So I did give him a call and sent him a photograph of the damage, to which he said, yeah, we can fix that, no problem at all, and it was a very reasonable price. Then I found the cylinder head, so it doubled the cost, but laser welded, machined back to a good and hand finished to a good surface, all for under 300 quid. So I consider that a bargain. Dave Mockford, in fairness, an absolute star of a person, was up at Anglesey a few weekends ago for a sprint and said he'd meet me on Telford Services on the way back through, pick up the head and block and take them down to EMP for me, ready for them to do the repair. And then when they're done, the next time he's up this way, he'll bring them back to me. So I didn't even have to pay for transport costs. Fantastic. So I'm just waiting on them to come back. They've gone down, they've been repaired. I'm just waiting for them to come back so that I can then put the engine back together. Now in the meantime, I've been altering the engine mountings, which, as you will see, old Red's back in the hole. Now there's a good reason old Red's back in the hole. If I just grab an original engine mounting, there we go. So this piece bolts onto the chassis and the engine mounting plate bolts onto there. And the same on the other side of the engine, the front plate. Now the downside of this is, A, these type of mountings are prone to delamination, especially when they get in the abuse that Morty gets. And B, it's a pain when you do have to pull the engine out because you have to unbolt this bracket from the chassis. Because those are angled, you can't just lift the engine off them. So I've redesigned it slightly. I made a couple of these, which replaces that rubber mounting. So this bolts onto the front plate of the engine, and that in the middle is a silent block metallastic bush. It's actually the front bush of the rear leaf springs. If you remember last year, I overhauled the rear axle and the rear springs, put new bushes in, and I bought them as a set of 4. I only needed 2, so I've got 2 spares. They will make perfectly good engine mountings. They will make it very firm and very well located. So I just needed to alter this bracket to take that. So I'll switch positions and I'll show you what I've done. Right, so there, as you can see, I made up some new brackets to bolt to the chassis, and then at the moment that's a 10mm bolt. Not quite long enough, it needs to be a bit longer, but I'll either get some longer 10mm bolts or I may go for 3/8 UNF. Doesn't really make much difference, they're about the same size, but that will locate the front end of the engine a lot better. It does unfortunately add a bit of weight. I weighed the old engine mounting setup with its bracket and weighed that, and this is about 400 grams heavier. So 800 grams, 0.8 of a kilo more in total for the two sides, which, while it isn't great to add weight, it's not a real big problem. This is quite heavy gauge steel, it's about 5mm thick. And the only reason I've gone with that is because I got it. And as a wise man once said, you've got to piss with the cock you got. So that's where we're at. I'm going to scallop that corner off a bit, just round that off, and possibly that bottom one just to tidy them, make them look a bit nicer. But pulling the engine in and out will be a lot easier because it'll be simply undo that bolt, undo the one the same as the other side, undo the bell housing and lift her out. So that's about it. I've got the other side to do, but there's not really a great deal of video content to make in doing that. So I think that's probably going to be about it for this video. Oh, I've got one other little modification to show you. One moment, please. Right, so what you can see down there is an eye bolt, and I've fixed that into the top of the bell housing so that when I need to take the engine out, I've got a length of ball thread there with a hook on the end, so I can hook that into there, spin that nut down and support the gearbox on that without having to put a rope around the bell housing like I was doing. So once I lift the engine out off its mountings, simply fasten that onto there, undo the bell housing bolts, pull the engine out, and the box will stay exactly in the same position until I want to put the engine back in. So there we are, that's about it for this video. Very short, I know, but I just thought I'd bring you up to speed with where we are with the engine repairs and the modifications I'm making today. So hope you found this interesting, maybe informative, maybe not, whatever. Hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.